Hi guys, I'm Rachel McVey, a musician and songwriter. This is The Small Yes. Songs, stories, and simple steps to walk with God in real life. And first, I'm going to go into my music corner with my guest of the day, Tiana. So my first question for you is, what Christian song after a breakup that still helps you feel hopeful through it all?
So the one that I listened to the most was Whatever It Takes by Stephen Stanley.
That sounds like a good song. I'm going to have to give it a listen because I actually do not know that one. So yes, this week, my songwriting little corner, something that kind of goes with what we're talking about today. I wrote the line, "You are steady in my shaking," just talking about how God is just like that rock that stays with you while you are in the hardest time when you are shaking and everything. As someone that has post-traumatic stress disorder, that is something that the song I'm writing is about, and just like how he is the steady rock when I go through it and I'm going through a hard time. But if you want to follow me up on my music updates, follow me on Substack and all my socials. All right. So this is Tiana. She is a dear friend and one of my best friends in the whole entire world, and I love her so much. And I'm just so grateful that I have her in my life, and she's helped me through certain things, but she's also just such a strong person through what she's currently walking through / has walked through. And she walked through heartbreak, and she found God really close in it. And I never seen her faith stronger in the friendship that I've known her and time I've known her. So I'm grateful for you being here. So hi.
Hi.
So Tiana, tell me about yourself. Just tell me a little bit about yourself so the people can know more about you.
I'm Tiana. I was born and raised in Vero Beach, Florida. I'm currently 25 and working at a doctor's office in town, which has been very cool. And yeah, that's
All right.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we're going to jump kind of into it now,
Okay.
which I kind of gave you like a little preview of the question, so you know what's to come. So yeah. Yes. So we're just going to start talking about what the word heartbreak means for you. So if you could define the word heartbreak, what does that entail?
So heartbreak has a lot of different layers. You have heartbreak when friendships end, you have heartbreak when family members die, and then you have heartbreak in the sense of relationships. Break within a relationship is a very different kind of heartbreak. It is a grieving process. It is something that you lose, pieces of yourself that you lose, the future that you planned, and it is a very hard and lonely place to be in a heartbreak. So.
Yeah. I think when you go through heartbreak, it kind of just shatters you and it makes you feel like you're alone and you don't really have anyone to walk through with you. But when you rely on the Lord and that other side of things kind of brings you through it, you are able to find a more steady and safer walk when you have God with you. And I think that's why you inspire me so much, because what we're about to go into, that when you went through this heartbreak, you were able to just fully lean into God and fully find your faith in the Lord again after being in a relationship for some time. Really good. All right. So we're gonna this next question is just kind of really getting to the depths of it, and you can share as much as you want to share, as little as you want to share. It is up to you. But was there a specific heartbreak that turned you to God, and what happened necessarily?
Yeah, there was. A relationship of mine ended about 2 months ago. It was one that I really thought was going to last. Everyone in my life thought it was going to last. We meshed really well together, but due to not healing from past relationships, and a lot of other things, it ended, and it ended very abruptly. And it left me with a lot of questions, a lot of wondering, a lot of questioning who I was, if I was worth it, if everything, just didn't know, like, any idea of what was happening. Very consuming. And I had to sit in a place of feeling alone, of feeling unwanted, feeling like I wasn't good enough, like I had done something wrong, and never getting answers, never getting what everyone thinks is closure, never having a conversation. And that really rocked me into my core. It was, as you know, a very low point in my life. And not in the sense of anything other than just questioning who I was, finding my worth in someone, especially someone of this world, left me and made me feel like I wasn't good enough. And so
I will say, like, something that I have learned in my own personal life, and I know that you're learning as well, like in your personal life, is that a lot of us women, we end up finding our identity in like men, or like what men think of us, what relationship I'm going to be in, if a guy will like me, if I'm pretty enough, if I'm good enough, or if a guy wants me around, or anything like that. But then once you shift that identity focus onto like who God thinks you are, and like how God says that you are chosen, you are loved, and like he's beside you and he's walking with you. I think that is like when you shift that, your identity is not in men. Your identity is not in your pain. Your identity is not in your heartbreak. It is in God alone, and like he will restore you through it. And I think that's something that I've resonated with my whole life too, because, you know, my whole story, like I've done the same exact thing. I've let men dictate my life, my whole life. And I've like kind of shifted in the past 2 years and like completely shifted my life around. And I just want to say, I'm proud of you, because you took action and you didn't like let that stop you. Instead of like letting you stop you, you were like, okay, what I used to go to after I went and like was in heartbreak was not of the Lord. It was like, I used to do the same thing, like go into things of the world to like make myself feel better. But when you go, honestly, like you see the amount of growth that you made in like a time when you feel like you have nothing else, nothing of the world can like fulfill you. And the only thing that can fulfill you is God. And I'm really proud of how like you just leaned on the Lord so heavily in that. And like, in the brink of it, like have read your Bible every day, like learn what you want, and taking time to yourself, like having that time where you're like, I'm going to be okay being alone. Yeah. And I'm going to work on that, because it's another thing that girls go through. Is they don't want to be alone, because they want,
even if it's like a friendship, any kind of like just sitting alone is so difficult.
Yeah.
So it's like when you have a friendship and you have friends that you're always around, which I do, and I am around friends a lot.
Yeah.
Like 6 days out of 7 days, pretty much, I'm always with someone.
Yeah.
But the difference is like when I go home at night, like I am alone, and I used to struggle because I do live alone.
Yeah.
And I do have my own place. I don't have roommates. I don't have any of that. So it was really difficult for me for a long time. Like, you know, I had one friend staying with me for like 4 days out of the week. And then you and I were living together for a couple months, which by far was probably the best roommate that I did have, because
She admitted it. Yes! I win!
And it went from like always being with you to always being with him. And not that it was a bad thing that we were always together, but it did move very quickly. Mm-hmm. Attachments grew very quickly. And it was something that I think both of us struggled with, was being alone.
Yeah.
And so we never had time alone.
Yeah.
And so I think in the beginning of the relationship it was a lot healthier, because I had a lot of trips planned. So I was like home for a week, gone for 4 days, home for a week, gone for another long weekend, and then it was like I was gone for 8 days. And within that first month of us being together and then me going on that trip, I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't sleep without you. Like I'm so used to you being here. And like that was a month. Like now looking back at it, I was like, oh, like that's not what God intended.
Yeah.
Like I remember I woke up the first morning I was in Wisconsin and I was anxious. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh, like, he's not here. I'm not going to see him for a week. And it was a week. Like, it was 8 days. Like, it wasn't like I was gone for a month. It was literally, I was gone from like a Thursday to a Friday or something like that. And I remember I opened up my Bible and started reading Jeremiah.
Yeah.
I don't know why Jeremiah. I just remember reading through it. And I sat in the hotel in the lobby at like 7 a.m. and I'm like reading through my Bible and I'm journaling.
Yeah.
And every morning I woke up and did that when I was there.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I was attached to him in a way that's meant for a marriage.
Yeah.
And so I noticed things and I did turn to God in our relationship, but I still put that person above God throughout the relationship. And no fault to him for that. That was my own doing.
Yeah.
And so it was really hard because your body wants someone physically on earth, but your heart wants what only God can fill.
Mm-hmm.
And so learning that balance was very difficult, and I think that's what I really struggled is I wanted to get closer to God, but I wasn't willing to give up stuff in my relationship.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, God was like, this is being removed.
Mm-hmm.
What you fill it with is up to you, but where are you going to go from here? That's where the free will comes in.
Yeah.
And so
I will say, like, something that I suggest to everyone now when you're in a relationship, because, like, you know, I used to be a serial dater for, like, many years. From, like, literally 13 years old, I was always with a guy till I was, like, 19.
yeah.
And it was a long time in my life. I've had, like, I was always with someone. I needed someone with me. It was something that I needed.
Yeah.
And it was never, and the big thing with this issue, like the issue that always like came in place is that we did not set like healthy, godly boundaries at the beginning of a relationship that were honoring and fruitful to him. Like and I think if you're with a man of God and you're with a guy that loves the Lord wholeheartedly, he will help those boundaries stay up.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly. And if you have that conversation like, hey, what are our boundaries? What are we going to do? And I
like prior to dating,
yes,
those boundaries need to be set in place. Yeah.
And like I'm an avid people pleaser and I have like a hard time with boundaries. And my friend, if you know who you are when I say this, she like literally was sitting across from me and she kind of just screamed at me. She's like, boundaries are biblical. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. And I was screaming. But it's true. Like boundaries are biblical.
It is.
And having that, and I still struggle with like that too. But I think when you're in a relationship with like a man of God, he will also like help initiate that as well. So yeah.
He will be one setting the boundaries. He will be like, hey, this is not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, this is not in the cards for us. This is not what it's going to be. He will be a leader in the home, the way that God created it to be. And he will lead you closer to Christ. He won't lead you to things of this world.
Yes.
And so I think it's very important to know the roles that God gives us, especially in a relationship, prior to being in a relationship. And of course, I was that person that was like, I'm going to get married at 21. I'm going to have 6 kids and I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. Like, that was my goal in life. And that was where I found my purpose. Like, once this happens, I'm going to be good. Like, my life is going to fall into place. I'm 25. I've gone through 2 pretty serious relationships. And I'm like, wow, I'm a I'm like a little infant trying to date. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what God says about dating. I have no idea, like, who I am in Christ, my purpose, anything.
Going into the next question, because we really like...
Yeah.
But it's okay, because that's how this is supposed to be. So, in your daily life, like, after your heartbreak, I'm going to be honest for the viewers, like, you've seen her kind of crumble in a way that like hurt me.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna cry thinking about it, because it was really hard to see as your friend. And even though I'm awkward and I laugh and I don't know how to do it, like, I genuinely, it's out of like a place where I care.
Yeah.
And so when you did that, how did your heartbreak show up in your body, in your daily life, and like how you walk through it, and still walking through it to this day?
Oh, wow. So, I remember you were the first person I called leaving the house that I was at immediately after it happened. And leading up to that, I hadn't eaten anything. Like, I was so stressed. I kind of knew that it was coming, but was like, yeah, no, like, this isn't going to happen again. It's fine. It's fine. And I remember I, like, could not eat. Like, forcing myself to eat was not in the books for me. I lost almost 15 pounds. Thankfully, I gained everything back. But it took a toll on my physical health. Even when I did try to eat, I physically just, like, couldn't force myself to. I was doing protein drinks a lot because I was also working out a lot, because I just didn't know what to do with myself, and I had so much more free time than I've ever had, so I was just like trying to fill the time. So I'd go on like hour walks, runs, going to the gym. Like, I was burning almost 3 times the amount of calories that I was consuming. Like, it took a toll, and which, you know, when you're stressed about like a test at school or stressed about getting in trouble or anything like that, like, you don't eat, your stomach's in knots. That went on for about a month and a half almost. It was coming up to about, I think 2 weeks ago was when I finally started eating normal again.
Yeah.
And there's still days like I look at and I'm like, wow, I haven't had a solid meal today. Like, I've snacked here and there, but like I haven't eaten and I'm not hungry. So I'm still struggling with that aspect of like getting my appetite back and having a healthy diet again. And then, so that was like one of the main things people noticed and people saw physically. That was the physical aspect of everything. Mentally, I could not focus. Like, at work, at any Bible study I went to, like, my mind was on him in the breakup 24/7. Like, I don't know if you remember, it's all I talked about for like a solid month.
Oh, like, yeah. No, guys, every word I was like, if she said this person's name, I wanted to go boom, boom.
Me too.
I'm kidding.
I can't let go. I can't move on. I can't think about anything else. And a lot of that came because I never got closure, or what people think is closure. And so with that, my mind constantly would run through answers like, well, what if we sat down and had a conversation? The outcome would be different. What if I didn't say that thing? Or what if I said something differently? Or like the what ifs. They go and they go and they go, and they're so damaging to your mental health, because you sit there and you go down a rabbit hole and you're like beating yourself up, being like, you should have done this. And it's like, okay, well, the moment's passed. You can't do that anymore. How are you going to move on? And I remember there was one day, I want to say it was maybe like a week to a week and a half after everything had happened. We still hadn't talked. I believe everything had been exchanged back. And so that was kind of like the final thing, was like when you get your stuff back from someone, it's like, okay, like this is done. Like there is no, oh, we still have to see each other. Oh, like you're just, it's over. There's no more reason to communicate. And so I think it was a Thursday, and I walked into my apartment and I lost it. Like, I hit the ground. I was on my knees. I remember I had worship music playing in the background, and face down on my knees, just bawling. Mm-hmm. And, like, out loud, I was like, God, I can't do this. Like, I physically, mentally, spiritually, I'm done. Not done in the sense, like, hey, I don't want to live anymore, but done in the sense of being like, this world is not for me. Mm-hmm. This is not what I want. This is not the pain that I want to sit in. And in that moment, I remember physically having to like pick myself up off the floor. And I remember I turned my Alexa all the way up. I had my worship music on, tears streaming down my face, and I walked there and I prayed through my entire apartment. That's
kind of going into what I wanted to talk about next, actually. A beautiful segue. But so in your life, in your prayer life, what did prayer look like in your life at that moment? But also, like, is there certain scripture, is there certain like thing that God spoke over you that kind of really helped you get through it?
Yeah. Prayer was constant. Like,
you would walk and breathe and pray.
Literally. Honestly.
Like, if you weren't talking to me like, or Jada, you were on the phone.
I was not, and that's so funny that you say that, because I knew when God was like, it's my time with you. Because I'd call someone and they wouldn't answer, and I'd call like two other people, and it would be like you, Jada, my mom, my sister. No one's answering, and I'm like, now what? Like, now who do I talk to and be like, oh, I'm broken. Like, you guys haven't heard
God.
it 100 times. And I just remember it took me so long, or what felt like so long, to just turn to him first.
Yeah.
And just sit with him, because it's uncomfortable. And it hurts, and you have to feel everything.
Like, in the lowest valleys that you're in, it like brings you closer to the Lord, because it's like, oh, that's all I have. And
and it's that or death.
Like, it's like,
it really is.
It really is. And like, something that will grow in this season is like, like, as you find your joy again, and like, I already see you like building up your joy a little bit more and more each and every day.
I know, I'm not sitting moping around crying every time you say anything to me.
So, and you're bringing the joy back. And I think with that, because you've gotten so close to the Lord through this heartbreak, you like that sense of like conviction will like kind of like flood over you. Because something like I talked about in the past with me is like, well, not to them, but to like you, is like, I had this like realization I think like a while ago, it was like a year ago, and I did something of sin, and I was
last November, I remember.
I was so convicted to the point where I was like vomiting. And after that moment, literally my whole life and everything I did, like I stopped doing things because people did things. I like just did everything on my own. I was like, no, it's God and me alone, and I'm not going to like let anyone or anything make me do anything that's going to like, or not make me, but like influence me to do anything that's going to make me lead me into sin. Mm-hmm. And I think that's when like, when you have that realization and like you and your heartbreak, like that grows. And I see that growing in your own life as well. You're like the thought of certain things that you used to do on a daily basis. Like the thought of it makes you so like sick, because it's like, that's what God does. He grows that up. Like that discernment is like so much stronger once you get closer to the Lord. So,
and a scripture that I didn't find until a little bit after. Actually, it was one that we went over in young adults, and we were going through the book of Ephesians, and it was Ephesians 6, and I read it every morning.
I called Ariana, I was like, Tiana inspires me so much, because every morning she would wake up when she was going through the spiritual warfare and then just read Ephesians 6, like out loud over herself. And I was like, that's crazy. That's so like powerful.
And I would physically read it aloud.
Yeah.
Because it was like, and claiming it. and knowing like words have power.
Yeah.
And being in the scripture has power. And I did random devotions for like a month straight.
Yeah.
And then once I got used to being in the Word, that was my preparation to do deeper devotions, which is when Deja and I started the one that we're doing now.
Yeah.
And I'm able to more sit in it and be receptive to it. Before, it was just like I just needed to be in the Word. It didn't matter what I was reading, and I remember I deleted all social media.
Yeah.
That seems to be my go-to when I go through anything in life, is like delete social media first and foremost. So I deleted social media and replaced that with, I would scroll through scripture.
As I went through the thing with my last boyfriend, and that thing happened that he did.
Yeah.
I remember after that, I literally like gave up all secular music, anything that like conformed me, and I stopped listening to anything with like Taylor Swift, anything of that stuff, because that was like my normal go-to after a heartbreak. I would like scream some Taylor Swift in the car, which like I was like, but
singing along to the heartbreak. You're like, I feel it.
But no, after that, because like what he did like brought me to like a low, and I know that is something that like you just, that like the heartbreak is just something that like when you do something like that and you make those choices, like, okay, I'm gonna give up this. And that's kind of like going into the question, like you talked about you having to surrender social media, but is there like anything else you had to surrender?
Music was a big one. Like I have my Christian playlist, and still to this day, that is the only thing that plays.
Yeah.
If I'm the one playing music, that's what's playing.
Oh, same. Like always.
That is it. Like I cannot listen to heartbreak music because I was so broken in myself. I was like, I don't need something else to make me feel sad. Like I feel sad enough.
Yeah.
I'm not going to continue to draw into that.
Also, like, nothing against heartbreak music. I think a lot of heartbreak music is beautiful and like from your raw emotions. But I think a lot of the time when you're listening to that in a heartbreak, it kind of makes things worse. Like you're proclaiming that you are sad, and you're like, I'm going to stay sad, and I'm going to stay in this, and I'm not going to like get out of it. And I'm just going to live in this like sorrow for myself. I'm just going to be sad and lonely, and I'm going to like live in my pity. But it's like when you're listening to worship music, you're like, okay, but God, you get me through this. Yeah. You know? And it's a completely different mindset.
That is exactly where whatever I takes comes in. And I may miss say the words. But the lyrics is, it's like, God, I'm breaking my own heart. And I remember the first time I heard that song, I was doing my walk, and as I started taking off running.
Yeah.
And it was like, God, I'm breaking my own heart. And I was like, bawling. Like, I'm running, and I'm just bawling. And I'm like, okay, God. And I remember I went on YouTube, replay. Like, for a solid week, that was the only song I listened to. And it was because it's like, do whatever it takes. And I feel like when you get to that point of like fully being in with God and being like, I'm done. Like my old self, I'll die to it. Like, I will not be that person anymore. It's such a hard place to be in. I definitely think giving up social media was very necessary for me, because I'm not one that will like take people off of social media.
Yeah.
And I remember being on the beach one day, and I was by myself, and I went for a walk. I went swimming. I was laying out. I went swimming again, and then I was laying out, and I was like, oh, I'll just look at social media, knowing that I should not look at social, like, everything in me. Like, I remember I called Jada after, and she goes, well, why'd you do that? I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, no, you know why. And I was like,
why are you calling me out like that?
I know. I'm like, can you stop?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know if I'll ever be ready to have social media back. I feel like it's more hurtful than helpful.
Yeah.
I feel like if you know me well enough to be on my social media, then you should know me well enough to have my phone number. And if you don't have my phone number, there's no reason for us to talk. Like, if I'm being completely honest, I genuinely feel like if you are in my life and you are a big part of my life, you have my phone number. You can communicate with me.
Yeah. We kind of like touched on this a little bit, but how did community help? And is there a certain community that did help you through it?
Yeah.
Specifically, like in both of us, actually. Like, I mean, I came home from college. I had this and I had great friends up there, but I came home from college and I like shifted and I found like great community down here. You kind of found community again when you needed it. And I think that's such a beautiful thing is that you found some new friends. You found like a new community, a friend group that like loves God and supports you, but also just like rooted in faith. And like all of our friendships are like surrounded like by rooted in God. Like we can sit in a corner and just talk about like theological,
or in a line at Universal.
And just like literally talk about God and like
and
theology.
Like, this is what God says.
And we're like planning last minute trips to Universal with a random
from Canada. We had met like 2 weeks prior, but he loves the Lord.
We hung out with him.
It was a fruitful friendship.
We hung out with him one time before that, like outside of church one time, and then we were like, let's go to Universal together.
And it was like 10 minutes into him being at the house for the game night, and we're like, want to go? And for whatever reason, he said yes, and then we're like, oh, okay.
It was fun though. I mean, it was awesome. Yeah. And a great friendship was built out of that.
But no, it was. But definitely community was found very quickly.
Yeah. And God provided. That's something.
He did. And I remember I had someone that I had known for years, you know who you are when I tell this story, that went through something similar at the same time. And it was such a fruitful friendship.
Yeah.
Because in that moment, we both struggled. And we both struggled with similar things, overthinking, stuff like that. And so having her to talk to and to be like, hey, I'm suffering, I need prayer.
Yeah.
Cool. Praying for you. Like that was it. And I remember I text you, I text Ariana, like I was texting everyone like, I'm struggling, pray for me. And
every day I was like waking up and I was like, I pray for Tiana.
Yeah.
That she makes it through today.
Thank God, because without him, it was questionable. But I just remember like, it was the day after my breakup.
Yeah.
That I got close with her.
Yeah.
And still to this day, someone that I'm with 3, 4, 5 times a week would not trade the friendship for anything.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Because of it. And then also just like, I remember it was like a Tuesday night. You were like, hey, we're doing a Bible study. Oh, okay, cool. Like, I'll go. And I remember I sat there. You walked in. You're like, hey, pretty girl. Cried. And
you fell asleep during the Bible study.
It was not during the Bible study. It was after. And I remember we sat there, and I had my Bible. I had my notebook. I was going through it. We were finishing up. And I remember, because at that point, I wasn't sleeping. Like, I would get maybe 5 hours of sleep. Like, you don't understand. Like, my mental ability to comprehend anything was just gone.
Yeah.
Like, I was living, but I was not in my body whatsoever.
Yeah.
Especially in my mind. Like, my mind tapped out and was just, like, disassociated. And I just remember that core group that we had that night is still the core group that I have to this day.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow. Like a random Tuesday night, I go to this house, and it was someone that I had been to their house maybe like once prior. Maybe. I was like, I remember I got there early because I was like, if I don't go now, like I'm not going at all. And then after that, young adults started. So then I was at young adults. Still go to young adults every Monday. And then as I developed my healing with Christ and my healing in Christ, and I started to get restored, is when I started volunteering with the church. And I always wanted to work in student ministry. I absolutely love middle school, high school age groups because I remember the people that poured into me at that time, and I remember how major it was in those moments, especially middle school, and having people that were younger, like obviously older than me, but younger than like the parents that were helping out in youth. And I just remember, I'm like, I want to be just like them. And so to be that image for someone else and to do it when my heart's right with God and when my focus is on God is such an amazing thing. And I remember telling a friend of ours, I was like, this is my purpose. Yeah. And before I had that conversation with her, she looked at me and she was like, yeah, you kept asking, like, why, God? Like, why does this happen? And she looked at me after our, like, small group one night and she goes, this is why. And I was like, whoa. Yeah, that's crazy. Like, you're telling me this came from, like, me being broken to a point where I was like, okay, I'm done with the world. Here you go, God. Like, my life is yours. Place me where you want me. And it was like, hey, come to youth. Like, 6:30 on a random Wednesday night. She's like, you got approved. You can come to youth. And I remember I left the gym. I was in the gym parking lot. And I went straight to church. Aww. And that was the first time I ever volunteered. That's awesome. And it's been about a little over a month now. And no better joy. That's awesome. So I have one more question that's like a long form question. Then we have like these 3 rapid questions, which would be like 1 to 5 words. But okay. So we'll try that. We'll try it the best we possibly can to do 1 to 5 words with one question. Yeah. But one more question I have is this: just how do you practice forgiveness now with everything that you went through? And I know that's a hard hitting one. And I mean, I kind of can pour into this as well too. But you can start because it's for you. But I'm interviewing you. So how do you practice forgiveness, Tiana? So that was one thing that I've never struggled with in this breakup. Yeah. Or in this season of heartbreak. I more got mad at God. Yeah. And myself because I had a ton of forgiveness for this person. Yeah. And I had a ton of grace for them. Mm-hmm. I was not that they ever knew that, and it wasn't their place to know that. Yeah. Like, that was between God and I. That was something where I worked through it with God to be in a place where I'm like, okay, I'm putting the blame on myself. Like, I'm responsible for everything. And it was like working on forgiving myself and working on not getting angry with God, because I remember a lot of times I would just be like, I'm mad at you, God. Like, just in the car, I'm like, I'm upset with you right now. Like, I love you and I don't want to be mad at you, but like, I'm mad that I'm in this position. And so a lot of it was more forgiving myself for putting myself in those situations to where I did get hurt the way that I did. So a lot of stuff is remembering, like, you're not bigger than God. Yeah. And if God can forgive you, then why can't you forgive yourself? Mm-hmm. Or why can't you forgive others? And so having that mindset of being like, God is above me, and if he can forgive me for the sins I have committed, I can forgive those that sinned against me. Yeah. And so that is one thing. And it was a process of being like, I forgive you for hurting me, and always wanting to communicate that for closure reasons. But at the end of the day, it was like God and I were at work together, mending my heart, praying for his, praying over like both of our futures, because there was never bad blood. Yeah. And I remember even you and I had a conversation where it was like, I'm so thankful for the way that it happened. Yeah. And the way that it all went down, that there was no conversation had, there was no clarity on the situation, there was absolutely nothing. Like, it was just a random day that was like, hey, we're not together anymore. Yeah. because if it happened any other way, God would not have been as needed in my life and as direct as being like, okay, God, I'm done. And so I am forever grateful for that person doing that. Not because I wanted the pain, but because of the walk that I have with God now and the relationship that I get to have with God now is so much better than any pain that I would have ever faced.
Yeah.
And I would go through that situation again if it meant that I get to have God the way that I do now.
Yeah, and I'm going to kind of speak into this before we go into the, because if any of you are struggling with forgiveness towards anyone that hurt you or put you through, a hard time, something I've been learning is just that forgiveness and forgetfulness are very different things. Your heart, you need to guard your heart wholeheartedly. And I know in my situation that I was in 2 years ago, what he did was very bad. With that kind of came with hurt and anger towards him and hatred towards him. But when you look at yourself and then you're okay, Lord, how do I get myself to forgive someone that took something from me, When you work through forgiveness and I can say full-heartedly that I forgive this person for what he did for me because also in the end it's what Tiana was saying, I would not be where I'm at now if that didn't happen. I probably would still be in college. Well, I probably would have graduated college by now, but I would have graduated college by now. But I would have stayed all 4 years and I wouldn't have had this community. I wouldn't have the church I'm at. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now because I wouldn't have had that walk. And I forgive him for what he put me through, but I also don't forget, and I'm going to use it for God's glory. Yeah. And I think that's something that you can do as well with that is I forgive him because I'm where I'm at now because of that happening to me.
And that helps with forgiveness too, because there's no anger.
Yeah.
It's not it's stuck with me. There are times where I still have to remind myself, hey, you dealt with that. Mm-hmm. Don't go back to that place because that's no longer where you are. You and God already walked through that. God already showed you that battle was won and it's done. Allow it to not come back. Mm-hmm. Which is one thing I struggle with too, is allowing thoughts to creep back in.
Yeah.
But forgiveness is such a powerful thing, and I think people don't realize that sometimes you have to forgive a person more than once.
I saw this quote that said, Marie, we can end on this quote before I go to these questions, because we are yapping a little bit. But it said that if Christ can forgive us for putting him on the cross, then we should be able to forgive those who hurt us. And that's just so true. That's facts right there. That's spitting facts.
That's exactly what it is.
So we're gonna go into the 3 quick questions. You have to answer these in 1 to 5 words.
Oh gosh.
So I got you got this. All right. How do you quickly check if you are healing or you're numbing the pain?
Ask God to show you.
Good. That was forward. Good job. All right. What small reset helps you hear God, and how do you keep it doable?
Working out.
Okay.
And being consistent with it.
And what boundary truly moved healing forward?
Staying off social media.
That's good. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'm really happy that you guys listened to my first ever episode of The Small. Yes. And if you want to follow me on social media, it's at Rachael mcvey music. Yes, everything is that. And share this with a friend if it helped, and just follow so you can see more episodes. So yes, thank you guys so much, and have a beautiful and blessed day.